Yeah.
Mayor, we're ready to go.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the August 22nd Board of Aldermen meeting. I now call this meeting to order. I'm going to ask everyone to rise and join.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I would ask the city clerk to call roll call attendance.
Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Even.
Here.
Alderman Francisco.
Here.
Alderman Holman.
Here.
Alderman Hughes.
Here.
Alderman Mortland.
Here.
And Alderman Perot.
Here.
I have Alderman Weezahan as absent, Mary Miss presiding, and we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Before I get to the minutes, I do want to spend a moment to talk about two of our citizens who have recently passed. Sorry to say I did not know them specifically, but I think that because of their contributions, they need to be noted. One was Mary Bill Andrews. She and her husband, George, moved to Town and Country in 1959, lived on 37 acres here in Town and Country. She owned a store called The Tennis Friend in Mason Woods Village in the 60s and 70s. Her son, Chris Andrews, served on our city's green team, and he remains an active citizen today. The other is Carla Borgard. She was a member of the Topping Road Task Force that helped usher in the current sidewalk and roadway project. She was a longtime member of the Community Relations Commission, frequently volunteering at events. She was a sponsor of community events and programs. She was a well-known real estate agent that was always willing to lend her expertise to the city. Also, her husband Mike was an alderman in Ward 1 from 1994 to 2000, and that she actually continuously gave of her time and talents in support of his tenure. So I think we'll just take a minute of silence to reflect upon those contributions. Thank you very much. From the August 8th meeting minutes, seek a motion and second to approve.
Second.
Any discussion or amendment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I believe we do have one, Janine Fabic, who would like to speak tonight.
Oh.
Ms. Fabic, you want to come forward? Thank you. Bye.
Hi, good evening. Janine Babick, I'm in Ward 2, and I'm on the Ways and Means Commission for Town and Country. Good evening. The city of Town and Country continues to be a very desirable community in which to live, and our amenities continue to grow. We are fortunate to have good quality infrastructure, fire and ambulance services, and an excellent police department. Citizens of this community have been provided all of this from revenue sources other than property taxes. Town and Country has not levied a property tax since 1996, 25 years. As much as everyone would love for this to continue, under today's economic climate, it is not sustainable. Since 2017, there has been a yearly decline in the city's balances. If not for one-time revenue in 2022 from the American Rescue Program and the sale of city-owned property, there would have been a 6-year of continued decline, putting the ending fund balances at a point so low they would not be in compliance with the city's required reserve of 50%. For the last several years, it has not been a discussion of whether the city needs to levy a property tax, but when to begin to levy a tax and at what amount. Utilizing one-time funds, as is being done in 2022, may accomplish maintaining a sufficient balance for a short period of time, but this will not sustain the operations beyond our current point. The sooner a property tax is implemented, the longer the benefits from this tax will be accrued. Even utilizing ARPA funds, if as little as a 10-cent tax was levied beginning in 2024, fund balances would remain healthy beyond 2030. If the 10 cents tax is delayed until 2026, then by 2030, the fund balances would again be in jeopardy of not being maintained at the required reserve level of 50%. The Ways and Means Committee at our last meeting recommended a property tax of 23 cents, which is half of the amount Town and Country is allowed without further approval. This amount would be sufficient to sustain the operations of the city for many years to come. Although this amount seems large, coming from the zero rate, it is still the second lowest tax rate among the majority of our neighboring municipalities. I ask the board to follow the recommendations from the Ways and Means Commission and move forward with an approval for a property tax at a level that will be sufficient to maintain the high quality of services we as residents enjoy now and for the future. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. We're going to have a limited discussion of that tonight with our financial CFO to make a small presentation, and then certainly invite you back on September 12th when we have a public hearing on just that topic. So thank you very much. I believe there are no other public hearings, and for appointments, as I mentioned last meeting, appoint Tabet Miners to a Ward 2 position on the Public Works Commission. I seek a motion and second. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
I tell you, she's a wonderful addition to the Public Works Commission. Also, on the reappointments, we're meeting with the aldermen who head up the different commissions and making some changes, but I have reappointed the expired members of the city commission structure en masse per the distributed list. I seek a motion and second to approve.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, that motion carries. At this point, I would like to recognize Commission Chairman and the board's opportunity to provide reports to city manager. Alderman Holman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report that the Public Works Commission will meet the third Monday in September, that's September 19th at 6:30 here at the municipal building. And on our agenda, we'll be reviewing the spatial rating work that our intern did over the summer. That project is completed, and we'll dive into our road conditions. We'll report back to the board with some recommendations, hopefully before the end of this year, so the board and the staff can use it as they plan the 2024 budget. Secondly, I'd like to report that at our first meeting in September for the Board of Aldermen, which is on September 12th, our meetings typically start at 7 p.m. at night. That evening, we will start at 6:30 p.m. to have a work session to review the Public Works Commission recommendations to amendment and changes to our Chapter 415 stormwater maintenance program. That is it.
Make sure you're reminded of that.
Gotcha.
I will too.
Okay. And Shelton, no report?
No reports.
Okay. And I did invite Finance Director Joanne Ginali to give us a summary report regarding our financial projections. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Board of Aldermen, city staff, and members of the public. This evening, I would like to share a short, high-level summary of the information we shared at our recent work session regarding the city's financial position relative to some long-term forecasts. While there was some meaningful discussion on the city related to other major funds, such as the Road Fund, the Parks and Stormwater Fund, and the Capital Fund, the main focus was on the city's main operating fund, which is, of course, the general fund. The general fund has had a trend in recent years of expenditures outpacing revenues. The current end-of-year projection for the current year is that we will use over $500,000 of our reserves, or what we call savings, due to this situation. However, our expected revenues are expected to come in above budgeted figures by at least 6.5%, or over $600,000, and expenditures are projected to come in below the budgeted figures by 1.3%. So we're in a much better position than what we budgeted for. Because as you recall, we were in COVID times or nearing the end of COVID times, but we still were worried about issues with revenues coming in lower than we anticipated. In addition to this, though, the city did receive one-time revenues of $1 million for the sale of some property to BJC at the end of July. And then we just received last week, $1.1 million, which was the second half of the distribution from the federal government in the American Rescue Plan Act funds. This $3.2 million provides welcome support to the general fund and now illustrates a surplus of about $2.7 million in general fund revenues that can be added to existing fund reserves. But it is important to note that this influx of money does not solve the city's funding situation long-term. It is a short-term fix. With that recognition, city staff provided 4 scenarios of revenue and expenditures. In all cases, the city's fund balance decreased from year to year, and by the end of 2028, which was the best case, the fund balance of the general fund was falling below the fund balance requirement of 50%. One scenario that was shared, which had impacted the city previously, was losing one of the city's top 10 sales tax producers when Walmart relocated elsewhere. And an important statistic to note is that our top 10 sales tax producers generate over 70% of all of our sales tax revenues. If the city lost even one of these top 10, the city would need another revenue source to remain appropriately funded and able to provide the ongoing city services, primarily police and fire, that our residents have become accustomed to. From this, examples were provided of various revenue funding sources, including a property tax, a use tax, a fire protection sales tax, and a residential utility tax. Current projections indicate that a property tax of 10 cents implemented in 2024 would carry us through 2030. The thought was that the property tax is a very stable revenue source, unlike sales tax that are elastic revenues, and would provide revenues at a very reliable level and would not vary significantly, such as the sales taxes do when the economy changes. And certainly it did during the COVID pandemic as well. This property tax, based on recent property tax valuations and estimates, would provide the city of Town and Country about $943,000 annually. This tax would cost a resident who owns a home valued at $700,000, $133 per year. That's all I have. If you have any questions or need any supplemental information, just let me know prior to the public hearing on the 12th of September. Thank you.
Thank you. And, we'll have obviously bigger discussion that night. Alderman Eagle.
Yes, thank you very much, Joanne, for that presentation. That's helpful. I appreciate all the effort you went into at our retreat and giving us information on the various scenarios. I felt like it was important to make a statement tonight, given that I was not here last week, to just express my concern. I look at the general fund, I look at our city's finances as if it was our own checking account. And if I were sitting here looking at my checking account balance and watching it continue to decline over years, I probably would be, for lack of better terms, freaking out right now. We need to look at this and we need to look at what we need to do to protect ourselves. Nobody knew COVID was going to happen. Nobody knew that it was going to impact our sales tax revenue. Nobody knew all of these things were going to happen. So what happens if that comes at us again? We don't know, but if we don't prepare now, or we lose a sales tax revenue producing of one of our top 10, we're gonna be hurting. So to push this off down the road and keep shoving things down the road, it's gonna cause major concerns for us, because we're gonna look at what else are we gonna be cutting to make ends meet. And that's not the Town and Country way. We need to think about what our residents deserve, what our staff deserves, what our police, what our fire and EMS deserve, and take care of the residents that live in our city and provide them what they need. Those basic services such as first responders, snow removal. Probably things that we're gonna have to look at cutting down the road if we don't make a difference now. So that's my thought behind that, and I welcome further discussion as we move into the public hearing in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you very much. All right,
Mayor,
yes,
before we move on from that, I just want to note for the record, I'll be entering an email from Alderman Wiesahan that was dated August 19th into the record. It consists of one page and was previously distributed to the board.
all seems to be great.
Thank you.
Right. Next, going on to unfinished business, bill number 22-43, board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2243 is an ordinance authorizing a contract with St. Louis County, Missouri for participation in St. Louis County Municipal Court for mental health court or other specialty courts and programs.
I would seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Second. Thank you. Any discussion or amendment?
I just had a question, Mayor.
Alderman Hughes, please.
Okay. My question is, what if Town and Country submitted an individual to this program and the individual becomes a repeat offender? Is it something that would we be charged again? I see that we haven't had a lot of need for this if there's only been 2 other defendants since 2008. So I was just wondering if this is something that would be,
Mr. Shaw.
we'd be charged again.
Yes, in reading through the agreement that the county provides, they have a very robust system of counseling and they would handle the whole thing. To your question, if somebody went through their program and then had a repeat offense, I would expect that then there would be an additional fee to send them back through the program. However, it appears the very first charge is very robust in the whole program. That answers your question?
Yes, I think it did. Thank you. I was just wondering.
I would also surmise that if he's a repeat offender, this program, the judge may not offer it to him.
Could be, correct. Yeah.
We don't want to be- That's the idea. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? That's the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Perot.
Aye.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
Alderman Francisco. Alderman Holman.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Even.
Aye.
And Alderman Moreland. The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4523.
Thank you very much. Next, bill number 22-44, by Alderman Woolman and Hughes. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2244 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a pool house located at 15 Clayton Hills Lane in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. Seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion or amendment? Yes, the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
Alderman Even.
Aye.
Alderman Moreland.
Aye.
Alderman Perot.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Francisco. And Alderman Holman.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4524.
Thank you. Next, bill number 22-45, sponsored by Alderman Portland and Francisco. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2245 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a roof-mounted solar energy system facing a street located at 703 Savannah Crossing Way in the city of Town and Country.
I seek a motion to approve. Second. Second. Any discussion or amendment? That's the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Moreland.
Aye.
Alderman Holman.
Aye.
Alderman Francisco. Alderman Allen. Alderman Perot.
Aye.
Alderman Even.
Aye.
And Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4525.
Thank you. Bill number 22-46, bill is all sponsor. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2246 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with Gamma Tree Experts for the 2022 Fall Branch Shipping Program and amending the 2022 budget by increasing a general fund expenditure account for program expenses and appropriating funds to cover the increase. And Mayor, before you get a motion on the floor for that, I'll be entering one email into the record from Alderman Holman dated August 19th. It's consisting of 3 pages and was previously distributed to the board as well.
Thank you very much. Let's seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or amendment? Alderman Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple questions to Mr. Zeltman I'd like to ask, and then I'd like to read a comment if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Hi. Okay, so this program would allow branch shipping for 480 residents.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's, the projections are on 480, correct?
That's correct.
And what if we have 520 like we had 3 or 4 years ago?
Well, it's more based on the cubic yards of material than it is the number of residents. So
But is it an open-ended contract or it's a specific amount?
it is based on the yards of material that is collected. So it could be more or less.
Could be more or less.
Yes, ma'am.
So if it's more, how do we cover that?
Well, I would have to ask for another appropriation.
Okay. So you have taken the numbers, and how did you come up with 480,
Oh, based on history.
even though we had 520?
The last time we've done it was 2019.
So we haven't done it for 3 years.
No, ma'am.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Mike, say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Brenda even has a question for you. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I didn't see-
Sorry, I didn't want to get too far. So based on the cubic feet, you said?
Cubic yards.
Yardage, okay. So given that we haven't done this for 3 years and we have no idea what the condition is going to be, and if we go over what we have in the past,
Mhm.
you're asking for that money after we've completed the job?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
If I could ask one other question.
Yes, sir.
If I could. Since it's been 3 years since we've done this, how was the rate compared to 3 years ago in terms of what we're being charged? How much is it the same?
It's gone up quite a bit
Okay,
because 3 years ago, we were able to use all the material for Cynthia. They accepted all the material.
okay,
Now, we're not sure if they're going to accept any. We told the bidders that expect that they accept none.
okay,
So it will all have to be hauled off-site.
okay, thanks. Alderman Allen.
Thank you. Okay, to read my comments now?
Right, yes, ma'am.
Comments?
Feel free.
Okay, so my comment is on why I believe the vote on bill number 2246 is a no. So far, this Board of Aldermen currently appears to be complacent or at the very least comfortable with city revenues being bolstered for FY23 by using 3.2 million of one-time revenues for operating next year and into 2024. Because of this, I believe we need to be very serious about controlling our spending so as not to continue the current spending trend of expenditures exceeding our real revenues. So I use that real revenues, which excludes any one-time monies. This logic follows, for me anyway, no action on real revenues requires action on expenditures. Or at the very least, let's prioritize all spending. I hope we can agree that we should always prioritize our spending and delineate need to have versus want to have, as we generally do with our personal finances. However, we're spending city public resources, and ideally, we first consider the greater number rather than what benefits only a few. In 2021, 7 of us on this board voted for and spent $25,000 on a performance audit conducted by management partners to look at our public works department. A key takeaway was that our public works department is understaffed and should have a delineated project manager position added. As an aside, the city will actually pay SWT to perform project management on our 2 new upcoming park playground projects. And I know the city frequently prefers to contract services, and I'm always good with that. The city continues to have IT glitches, and it is recognized we need a significant IT system overhaul and possibly an IT staff, so work doesn't always fall back on the city clerk, who already wears many hats and assists the mayor and members of the board and others as requested and as needed. I'm also aware that our chief of police has recognized the benefit or need of having another boots on the ground police officer. And I confirmed that with him a little while ago. In light of the recent challenges of public safety, which our current police department works diligently and effectively to counter, I believe most of us recognize that public safety is generally appreciated by all. In my opinion, public safety is the primary role of any form of government. I want to make sure that my comments are construed nothing personal. It's philosophical, so I don't want to be, I'm not trying to come after anyone. But let's consider the potential of 500 or 480 resident households for whom we would use city resources to remove the branch clippings from their properties. 28 news article identified Town and Country as the richest little town in Missouri. At that time, the median household annual income was $156,000. That current annual income in 22 is reported now to be $193,000, which is 207% above the national median. This last 2020 census now identifies the median home value in our city as $700,000, up from 10 years ago by $30,000. It's really hard for me to believe that very many residents of our affluent city are really looking for a free handout to have their branch clippings removed. I'd like to think they do not expect more from this city, as they already receive police, fire, and EMS services at no cost to them. So back to bill number 2246. A no vote reflects our commitment to avoiding unneeded spending that may be wanted by a very few residents. Anecdotally, I've actually been told that some residents will have their landscapers trim their branches so that their branches and clippings can be put to the city to be picked up at no cost to them. We as members of this board take an oath to do what is in the best interest of this city. Given the current fiscal circumstances, if the city can afford to cover the branch chipping cost of $35,000 plus the $12,100 additional cost since the December 22 budget approval, I believe it would be of greater benefit to the residents of our city for this board to engage in very serious discussions, prioritize the needs for additional services through staff for either the public works position, for an IT specialist, or another police officer, by applying that $47,100 for a much greater purpose for our city as a whole. I very respectfully and proudly will vote no. on bill number 2246. Thank you.
Just two quick little comments. Number one, I'm pretty sure that people in Huntley would not agree that we were the richest community. But number two, more importantly, this is not a complacent board.
This is what,
This is not a complacent board. This is a group of hardworking people who are really dedicated and are very thoughtful. They may not always, and I wouldn't expect them to always agree, but I guarantee you, wherever they come out on an issue, it's not because they're complacent. They're extremely thoughtful. I feel, so if there's any exception I would take your comments, it would be that this is not a complacent group of folks. I'm very proud of them. I really am. Alderman Burrow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of comments on 2246. The price of this service over the last 3 years for virtually identical quantities based on what we've already been told is about 56.5% for the same service. That basically means we're talking about $100 per household to pick up the branches and ship them. For whatever reason, there was only one bidder response, so we have nothing to compare that price with or to challenge the bidder with to try and lower that cost. With a $500,000 of deficit spending this year, I question whether we should at this time be spending at least $47,000, and let's say that it becomes more popular than it has been in the last years before that, could be much, much larger number, given that it's an open-ended, purely volume-related expense. It could go $100,000 if more than 480 homes with the expected usage happen to use it. I don't have a clue what it might do. We looked at historical, and their numbers are solid based on historical usage, but COVID, who knows what's going to happen when we reintroduce this. So $67 per home, up to $100 per home, and then $500,000 deficit spending. Should we really engage the city in something that is open-ended like this? Especially before we know what's going to happen with property taxes. Now, don't get me wrong, I love doing things for the citizens of our community. I think in this particular case, we need to be prudent until we know where the revenue is going to come from to pay for these kinds of services, given that we have a huge commitment with fire, police, EMS, underfunded road repairs, road fund account. We have a lot of things that have to come first. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to add a couple additional pieces of historical information and just correct some statements. And I appreciate your comments on our complacency, because to say that we're complacent on a vote we haven't even taken yet as a board, which happens in September, I think is an inaccurate representation and an assumption at this point in time. To the reach of this program reaches about 15% of our community, which is double digits. So I think it is a significant number. And there's the difference between the 400 cubic plus whatever cubic yards and a residential property. So why there's maybe a disconnect of the over 500 residential properties that we hit the last time we did this versus the way it's being measured with cubic yards. So that's the difference. It's not that we're doing necessarily less properties. But year after year after year that we did run this program, we didn't exceed the estimate by leaps and bounds. And it didn't come in lower than the estimate. It was pretty much on target every year that we've done this. This also includes a mailer. So part of this fee is $3,000 of it is a fee where we will send out mailers to our community, and we can add up other information on there. And to sign off on this ordinance tonight isn't signing you up for 2023, 2024, and 2025. It is for this year's budget where we have an additional $3 million in our general fund today. And it's a very small percent, doesn't move the pendulum. And this is one of those items where I hear appreciation from our community that we provide the service above and beyond the services that we supply to our infrastructure and our public safety. This is purely a service that they do appreciate. And I think I did share with some of you, a resident used this as an example of how we approach our property tax and said, I will gladly pay you that $133 in the property tax if you don't take away branch shipping. So from the residents that I hear from, they do appreciate this program. This isn't a program that we're pushing down for several years. This is in this year's budget. It will happen in third and fourth quarter, and we have the money that does not change our bank account if we move forward with this. That's it.
Sorry, just one other thought, not necessarily quite with it. I wonder if it would be reasonable to say, okay, once number 500 family signs up, we're done. We only have a certain amount, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to saying, it's open. Okay.
Mayor, we really don't have a sign up, so they roll through the streets and the residents put the branches out and we pick them up. So we wouldn't,
That's not,
that's not a
that's
downside.
not why I was just curious about how that works.
So the mailer goes out and it tells you when to put your shippings by your mailbox by X amount of date, and then they.
So this was a budgeted item for this year, we're appropriating more money. This is a symptom of a larger issue. It's you know, as we're discussing, is how do we maintain the level of amenities and quality and value that we offer our citizens and fund that as prices and just overall increases. And so it comes back down to revenues and expenses. So it's a symptom of a bigger issue. But the same thing could be taken from you know, if they're speaking with a fellow alderman, understanding like not all citizens use all the same amenities. So some citizens are using the parks and the playgrounds. Some citizens are going to events and different things. And this is, you know, something that might only hit a smaller purview of our 5% of our citizens, but it comes to value. I challenge us to maybe get creative. With regards to the $3,000 meal, I just thought in my head, like, they throw those things away. Why don't we invest in yard signs that we go around and put across all our major roadways, and you have that, and then in addition, use the e-blast or e-news and try to get creative and lower our costs. But overall, back to the bigger issue is we need to continue to look at how do we keep the high level of service, high level of staffing, and the resources that are needed to provide the amenities and the environment for this wonderful city.
I sort of like the idea of not doing the mailer and using the e-blast and some signs for the simple reason if somebody says, well, I didn't know that might induce them to finally get some people to sign up for their messages from their city.
Mayor, I know October 1st is Fire and Ice, but those sandwich boards mean a lot. I mean, that's just visual while you're going up and down.
Yeah, so that's a thought. Alderman Even.
Well, I appreciate Alderman Mortland's creativity because I think that, should something like this pass, I think social media is a free tool that we have. So the sandwich boards and signage are very inexpensive, comparing those to mailers. But to go back to what Alderman Allen was saying, this is a wake-up call. We might have the money in our account right now, but it doesn't mean we're not going to have that. We're going to have that money 2 months from now. We have no idea. We didn't know COVID was going to hit, you guys. We had no clue. We have to plan for the future. Just because it's in your checking account today does not mean you're going to have it 2 months from now, 6 months from now. If we keep spending on things that I don't want to say don't matter, because I think that this is, I love branch shipping. I've used it. I think it's fabulous. But how dire is it to our communities right now when we have a lack of funds that we can't say, you know what, we have to cut this because we got to get our finances in the right order. And we have to focus on the things that really matter. We need police and fire. Those are important. Those are big chunks of our budget We cannot go without them. We need our city staff. We need to take care of our city staff. We need our buildings, our roads, our parks, our stormwater projects. Those are all things that are incredibly important. So I'm not saying that I don't believe in the branch shipping in the future, but what is our priority? This was your bank account at home. Would you choose to do an elective project, or would you choose to focus on the things that matter to get us over the hump and make changes for the future so that we can bring back this wonderful program?
Thank you. First of all, I will apologize for the word complacent. However, I looked it up, and part of the meaning is not being aware of circumstances, which is why I just.
You're digging a deeper hole.
So I would just like to say, I've had one call over the years from one person in Ward 4 who asked about the branch shipping. And I just said, we don't have it this year. And I told him about Gamma. And he was very happy to pay for it himself. He just didn't know where to go to. And I think that part of what my concerns are is looking to the whole message as to where we are as a city. And anytime any of us probably have a resident that we're speaking to directly with explanations, they all get it. And just like Pam saying, the person would rather do it, that we don't have that luxury. Obviously, we don't have everybody on our social media. But, I think that, again, it's bringing up a program which I always have, not always, frequently have bias against programs because my perception of what they are, and there are some good programs, but at this point, I just don't, I think it's more important to let people know it's time to tighten our belts. Thank you.
It'll be really quick. Thank you, Mayor. The fact of the matter is almost every bid that we've received this year is coming in over budget. So, we can talk about what we are going to do, are not going to do, but we have $3 million that is now in our bank account that was unanticipated when we started working through the 2022 budget. And we will continue to receive bids that come in over our projections when our department heads were working through the budget in 2021, preparing 2022. So that is the fact of our reality for the rest of this year. So I am not going to use this as an example, a wake-up call to reprimand our residents over a decision a board of aldermen 2 years ago did not make to levy a tax higher than zero, and with current board of aldermen that hasn't made that decision and isn't going to make it for another 3 or 4 weeks. So at the end of the day, it's a service that our community appreciates. We have the money in our bank account, and yet we have 3 more ordinances tonight that are coming in over budget. Are we going to say no to all of those? I am not. I am in support of all the ordinances tonight where it's playground, topping, and this.
You bring up a great point, Alderman Holman, that all of our bids are coming in over budget. This year, we have had a fluctuation of anything from 30 to 70% over budget. So we have to tighten that up. And I have no issue, and we can talk about it. If we are going to be voting on a property tax down the road, what's the, is there a possibility that we can just move to continue this and make that decision after we make our decision on the property tax?
I think you can make that.
The timing.
Timing matters with the mailers, is all I would say.
I discussed it with the city administrator, and the timing is critical. It has to start in October, and they need time to get the word out. So you can't do that in a week or 2. So unfortunately, we can't wait.
Okay.
Good
We
thought.
have a roll call vote.
Alderman Holman,
Aye.
Alderman Francisco,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Nay.
Alderman Hughes,
Nay.
Alderman Mortland,
Aye.
Alderman Even,
Nay.
and Alderman Perot.
Nay.
It fails 4-3.
Thank you.
Meaning, let me just say for the record, for anyone listening at home, failing 4-3 means 4 people voted no, 3 people voted yes. It failed.
All right. Bill number 22-47. Alderman Francisco. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2247 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with Ideal Landscape Construction for the Drace Park Playground Construction Project and amending the 2022 budget by increasing an expenditure account in the Parks and Stormwater Fund and appropriating funds to cover the increase.
I seek a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion or amendment? Alderman Francisco.
I just want to remind everybody that while the project cost for this is over what we budgeted, we still have a $416,000 plus grant. So this is a very minimal cost to the city, relatively speaking, to the entire scope of the project. I just think that's something important to keep in mind.
And doesn't this need to go through in order for improvements in Longview to also happen?
Yes, if we don't pass this tonight, then we have to postpone the Longview grant application by a whole year.
Alderman Allen.
Thank you. And these are restricted funds. Correct. And also, the safety of parks has to do with well-being of, well, children and anyone who uses the parks. Thank you.
Alderman Hughes.
I don't know if many of you remember, but I asked about the surface for the park. And so it was suggested that I might want to go over and visit one of the parks over in Richmond Heights, and I sent you pictures. Very interesting. It's almost like that, still that foam, nice and soft and squishy for kids, but then it has a grass surface to it. And I thought, well, this is great. I would think kids would love this. It'd be a nice safety feature. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
I would ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Francisco.
Aye.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Even.
Aye.
Alderman Holman.
Aye.
Alderman Mortland.
Aye.
And Alderman Perot.
Aye.
It carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4526.
Thank you very much. Next is resolution number R05-2022, continued from 8/8/22. It's a resolution authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to apply for a municipal park grant for a replacement playground in Longview Farm Park. Seek a motion and second to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Thank you. Next, bill number 22-48, sponsored by Alderman Holman and Hughes. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2248 is an ordinance approving supplemental agreement number 1 to the professional services agreement with Horner and Schifrin for additional construction inspection and administration services for the Topping Road resurfacing and pedestrian improvements project.
Thank you. I seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
And second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or amendment? Would ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Holman.
Aye.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
Alderman Even.
Aye.
Alderman Francisco.
Aye.
Alderman Mortland.
Aye.
Alderman Perot.
Aye.
And Alderman Allen.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4527.
Next is bill number 22-49, support as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2249 is an ordinance readopting Chapter 120, Code of Ethics of Title I of the City of Town and Country Municipal Code.
Seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
And second. Good. Any discussion or amendment? Would ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
Alderman Perot.
Aye.
Alderman Francisco.
Aye.
Alderman Holman.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Mortland.
Aye.
And Alderman Even.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4528.
Moving on to new business, resolution number R06-2022, A resolution of the Board of Aldermen authorizing the issuance of a request for proposal by the city of Town and Country for fire and EMS services for a defined area. Let's see, do you want to read what you were saying now, or should I get a motion first?
I can. I will be entering an email from Creve Coeur Fire Chief Tim Hoffman dated August 22nd into the record. It consists of 5 pages total and was also previously distributed to the board.
I seek a motion and second.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? On the Tensor warrant list, it's in the amount of $104,528.53. Seek a motion and second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
I have no other business, and any other business by any of all. Seek a motion and a second to approve adjournment.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All for your time.
Thank you.
Everybody had, like, well, some